Namaskar, this is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. We begin with West Asia. No peace deal in sight between Israel and Hamas, but a new war is on the horizon between Israel and Hezbollah. There was a rocket attack on Saturday that killed 12 children. Israel has vowed retaliation, plus Turkey has threatened to join the fighting. So will the war spread? Does Netanyahu have the appetite and the wherewithal to handle a wider war? We'll discuss all of that. Meanwhile, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is in China. She met Xi Jinping today. We'll tell you what she's up to. While Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu is saying thank you to India. It's a classic U-turn. While Prime Minister Modi is planning a visit to Ukraine weeks after he went to Moscow. Jaishankar says Quad is not a talk shop. We'll talk about the many deals, drills and alliances that have been formed against China and what they've achieved so far. How sexism is rampant in sports, even in the Olympics, being hailed for gender parity. The many controversies in the Paris Games, what Maduro's win means for Venezuela and why the opposition has rejected the election result, how Nigeria is bracing for protests, and a special report on World Tiger Day. All of this and more coming up. The headlines first. Russian President Vladimir Putin issues a nuclear warning, threatens to restart production of mid-range nuclear weapons if the US deploys missiles in Germany. Putin says the move is reminiscent of the Cold War. Washington plans to start deploying long-range missiles in Germany from 2026. 8 people stabbed in a knife attack in northern England. The injured include children. A male suspect has been arrested. The attack took place near Liverpool. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned the incident. Protests resume in Bangladesh. It comes after the Hasina government ignored an ultimatum to release the student leaders. The stir against job quotas has led to deadly clashes in the country. More than 200 people have been killed in the protests so far. US President Joe Biden unveils plans to overhaul the Supreme Court. He wants term limits for the justices who currently serve for life. It's a long shot move since Biden has only 6 months left in office. The current Supreme Court is packed with Trump-appointed judges. Turkey approves a controversial move to cull some of its stray dogs. Its parliament backs a bill to euthanize sick or aggressive stray dogs. The government says this will prevent dog attacks and the spread of rabies. There are around 4 million stray dogs in Turkey. And Novak Djokovic crushes Rafael Nadal in the Olympics, beats him in straight sets. The tennis legends met for the 60th and possibly the final time. Djokovic and Nadal are the 2 most successful male players in tennis history. It's a question we have asked before. Is the Gaza war spreading? We've seen false alarms in the past few months, but this one could be real. Israel and Hezbollah are inching closer to war. And the trigger? What happened on Saturday? A tragedy unfolded in Golan Heights. It's a rocky plateau in southwestern Syria. Israel captured it during the 1967 war. And now they control this region, the Golan Heights. On Saturday, a city in Golan Heights was attacked. Not a military site, not an industrial facility, but a football ground. It was a Saturday, so children were playing there, and 12 of them were killed by rockets. Let me repeat that. 12 children killed by a rocket strike while playing football. Their funeral was held on Sunday. Thousands of residents gathered to pay their respects. Do we know who did it? Israel is blaming the Hezbollah in Lebanon, but the group has denied responsibility. They say, we did strike Golan Heights, but we did not strike the football field. It's a hard sell though. Many military experts have investigated the rockets. They say they look similar to the ones fired from Lebanon and Syria, which is why Israel is plotting revenge. Their top defense officials visited the attack site and promised to make Hezbollah pay.
Hezbollah, Iran's proxy in the region, Hezbollah will not be exonerated for this event, even with its absurd denials. They fired, they will bear the price, and they will pay a heavy price for their actions.
The only question is how? How will Israel make Hezbollah pay? They've already unleashed drone strikes. Dozens of targets in southern Lebanon have been taken out, but the worry is Israel may not stop there. You see, this attack has united Israel's politicians. They have differences on Gaza, but they agree on this one, that Hezbollah must be taught a lesson. Of course, some have suggested radical measures. The finance minister wants the Hezbollah chief's head. The national security advisor is calling for war, and one opposition MP said, tear Beirut apart. So you get the sentiment in Israel. But the final decision will be Benjamin Netanyahu's. The cabinet has given him a free hand in this. He can decide what Israel's response will be. Will it be a full-blown war, or will it be a targeted strike? The world is preparing for both. Some airlines are cancelling flights to and from Beirut. Air France and Lufthansa have done it. So have some Turkish carriers. Countries are also issuing safety advisories. Germany is asking its people to leave Lebanon. The US is asking citizens to reconsider travel. And India is asking its people to exercise caution. Clearly, they all fear an attack. And it is a real possibility. Israel and Hezbollah have been exchanging fire since October last year. Hezbollah has killed 22 Israelis, and Israel has killed 350 Hezbollah fighters. But these have been targeted attacks. Could it explode now into a full-blown war? Netanyahu's far-right allies would love it, maybe the Prime Minister as well, because it would extend his time in office. But the rest of the world, not at all. You see, Hezbollah is not like Hamas. They're said to have 100,000 fighters, 150,000 rockets and missiles, plus battle experience. So if a war breaks out, it won't be a walkover for Israel, not like Gaza. Also, their allies are not on board. The United States, for instance, says it does not want to see an escalation.
We're in conversations with the government of Israel. And again, I emphasize its right to defend its citizens and our determination to make sure that they're able to do that. But we also don't want to see the conflict escalate. We don't want to see it spread.
The army won't be thrilled either. Top generals want a post-war plan for Gaza, but Netanyahu won't spell it out. So Israel is basically winging the Gaza operation. In that context, are they ready to take on Hezbollah, to open a second front? It's a very risky idea because the Gaza front is still evolving. Some new players now want to get involved. I'm talking about Turkey. President Erdogan is hinting at direct military intervention. Listen to this.
We need to be very strong so that Israel cannot do these ridiculous things to Palestine. Just as we entered Karabakh, just as we entered Libya, we can do something similar to them. There is no reason for us not to.
Erdogan is talking about putting Turkish soldiers in Gaza. I know the first reaction, that's just Erdogan being Erdogan. But Turkey is NATO's second biggest military. It has a history of operations in Syria, in Iraq, and in Libya. So can you really ignore this threat? Well, Israel isn't. Their foreign minister has hit back at Erdogan. He has compared him to Saddam Hussein. So the worry is real. Israel could end up caught in a multi-front war. Let me pull up the map for you to explain. The south is already a war front. If Turkey enters, it could get even worse. To the north, you have Hezbollah, a formidable fighting force. And don't forget the fighters in Syria. They are funded and armed by Iran. If need be, they can join the fight as well. And finally, you have the Houthis in Yemen. They are already firing rockets at Israel. If this war spills over, expect them to jump in. So Israel could end up fighting on 4 different fronts. Of course, the US cannot stand by and watch that. So Washington may get involved if it comes to that. And as a response, Iran may get involved, which is why the next few days are going to be very crucial. All eyes will be on Netanyahu, much like it's been since October 7th. He hasn't shown restraint in these 296 days. Let's see if he starts now.